working, everybody. This is Kira Curran, and
I'll try it on I might try it on my other screen.
Okay, whatever works for you, really. But so Kira is from Little Heartbeats, and I just want to point out that this is a sensitive topic we're about to discuss. If anybody has experienced preterm, pre-labor issues, and it's still very raw to them, that is what we're going to be discussing. It's a vital subject that needs to be discussed. And Kira is here to discuss it. She has a personal understanding of it. Can you hear me, Kira?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Right. Do you know what? Do you want
trying to sort my technology?
Well, don't worry. Why don't you carry on talking, just so that we don't. Oh, let me try this. Let me see if this one's going to work. What was the one that I tested you on the other day? Let's have a look, see what we've got.
I don't know. I just got me on a computer.
Hello? There you go. There you go. We've got you. Right.
Hiya.
There you go, Kira. Good morning, love. So I've just given an intro to you anyway. So obviously you raise awareness to PPROM, which is preterm, pre-labor rupture of membranes. What is that, Kira?
It's when your waters break before 37 weeks of pregnancy. And it's happened to me back in 2010. And I never heard of PPROM before, ever. And it's quite a daunting experience. And at the time, when it happened to me, nobody knew much about it, even the medical team looking after me. I was sent home and basically told it couldn't be my waters. And then I was back in hospital within 48 hours. And at the end of that week, I lost my baby. And I made several complaints. People don't realise, because I birthed my baby at 21 weeks, that's classed in the UK as a miscarriage, and people don't realise you give birth and then you have other issues like retained placenta, and they took that out wrong. But because I was under 24 weeks, nothing was taken seriously about my complaint. And so I decided to set up Little Heartbeats. And I've gone on to do a couple of marathons, London marathons. I did the 2013 London Marathon, and I dressed up as Superwoman. Don't ask me why.
Because you're Superwoman?
Because we wanted to raise awareness of PPROM, and it was really important to me that we got the message out there. And so we set up Little Heartbeats, and we support women all over the world, mainly in the UK, USA and Australia. And we send little care packs out to women going through this.
Oh, I know you do.
And basically, we send these little animals out here. I don't know if you can see it on this camera.
Yeah.
And it's to give hope, but not false hope. And we do this because at the moment, especially in the UK, if you are under 24 weeks of gestation, 24 weeks, to anyone who doesn't know, is what they class as viability. In some hospitals, they may class 22 weeks as viability, but they are telling women that this is some doctors, because obviously some doctors do a good job. But some doctors are just saying to our mums that there's no hope and they should terminate their pregnancy due to the associated risks, which these risks are not saying they do not happen, because they do happen like anything, but it's ultimately a choice that a woman should have. And if you are told that there's no hope, then a majority of women would, choose to end the pregnancy. But we look at women who are, regardless of choices, we support them. And we have had a number of women who have brought home babies, and but the impact of it is quite traumatic.
Yes.
And then we have, pardon?
Yes, of course it is. Absolutely traumatic. You've been traumatized through this all, haven't you?
Yes, I have. So I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's only because I have my 5th pregnancy. So I've had 3 losses, and I have 2 living children. But it was only because I had my 5th child at the age of 43 that I actually got the prenatal support that I needed, and actually got the confirmation by a psychologist that I had post-traumatic stress disorder. So this is why I campaigned for our women who are going through pre-prom, because the actual impact of it is just incredible, regardless of what outcomes they have. And then we have other women who lose the waters, because it's all down up to 37 weeks. So if you lose your waters over 24 weeks, then a majority of our women aren't being told of all the risks. They're told of the risk of infection, and if they miss infection, it can lead to sepsis. So it's really a serious condition in pregnancy, because most people think you lose your waters, you're automatically going to go into birth within 48 to 72 hours to a week's time.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen to all our women. Many women can go weeks and weeks with little to no fluid. The hardest part we have is we cannot say to our women, your baby's going to survive this. We can't, nobody can, until
No, you
that
can't
baby is
guarantee
born.
that.
We just can't predict it. So we have to do our best to empower our mums of information, which we do in our care packs. The mascot is a little comfort thing, which, you know, as all the years I've done this now, which is quite a long time now, you know, I've had videos of mums who have sent videos in, and they have the surviving babies who coddle in the teddies. And then we've got the other side of things where women who've lost their babies and their children they have got the teddies. And it's just a little small comfort thing, but actually the information in our care packs gives our women the chance to talk to the medical team to say, look, this is what I've read about pre-prom. This is how I would like the management care, because it's all about management. It's all about the right time to deliver. And it kind of frustrates me sometimes.
I know.
We're dealing with this condition, but nobody has heard of pre-prom in pregnancy.
Well, now listen, Kira, this is the thing. I'm reading the live stream as you're talking, and people like, shocking, I had no idea. And then another one, didn't know any of this. And then another one, this is new to me as well. And that's the whole thing. I said to you, you got to come on. Don't know anything about this. This is new to me. And by the way, Chris agrees with something that you haven't yet said here, I don't think, but you did say it to me. She says, terrible to class this as miscarriage when more than halfway through pregnancy. You have a lot of problems with the description miscarriage, don't you?
I do. I just think it just, you know, I had 2 losses before 12 weeks, which is, you know, horrible, you know, to go to a scan and say no more heartbeat. It's just, you know, there's just no words to have it, because you're so desperate to have a family. And then you just feel, right, okay, it's like when you have a second time to losses, especially, you know, I have a baby inside that's been growing for 20, you know, some of our women from 12 weeks upwards. And you've been going along just expecting a baby, and it is a baby, and it's so traumatic. You know, I can remember 11 and a half years ago, I had a conversation with the midwife telling me that they were going to write spontaneous abortion onto my medical notes. And I said, if you write spontaneous abortion on my medical notes, when you haven't listened to a word I've told you, because I basically kept telling them it's my waters that have broken. At that time, I didn't know what I knew now. I wish I knew what I knew now, because I do believe, had they listened to me 2 weeks prior, I wouldn't have lost my waters in the first place. Then when I did lose my waters, the medical team didn't actually know what to do with me. And they still don't. 11 and a half years ago, despite our hardest bit of working. So we basically, a couple of years ago, in 2017, the RCOG, which is the Royal College of Gynecologists and Obstetricians, they archived our guidelines. And because I'm in the RCOG Women's Voices, I had a good moan and said, why did you archive them guidelines? Well, the NICE guidelines have got it covered in their preterm and NC25 guidelines. And I said, well, that doesn't cover enough for PPROM. PPROM can lead to infection. If you miss infection, it can lead to sepsis, which is life-threatening, not just for the baby, for the mother. Yet we still not got this. We can't use this as an emergency. We're not thinking, you know, is the mums that are coming in, are they symptom free? Are we looking after them? No, we're not looking after them. So I've got the one for under 24 weeks where they can't wait to finish the pregnancy. But as soon as they get over 24 weeks, the fight to deliver that baby is so difficult. And I understand the challenges of our hospitals, of the lack of cots sometimes. and balancing which babies might survive and which might not. But at the end of the day, they don't know where these women's journeys are started from. I got many who are IVF mums, and they're just literally holding on to that bit of hope that they have. And yet it's still underfunded. We are working on an intervention for PPROM, and we've raised a lot of money for it, but we wanted some government support. We wanted an inquiry. Yeah. Last year, it took me 11 years to get in Parliament at baby loss awareness. 3 MPs later, and the MP spoke for us. We asked for the inquiry. They turned down the inquiry. They said they're willing to see if they can do something else for us, but we want them to sit down and listen. Then we had one of our mums write to their MP. We had a letter back to the Department of Health who basically said, well, we're reinstated the guidelines. And it's like, well, Little Heartbeats reinstated the guidelines because the RCOG wouldn't have reinstated them had we not spoken up. And we worked with the RCOG to say, you have to include about infection, you have to include about cord prolapse, you have to include about placenta abruption. At the moment, you are not telling women about cord prolapse or placenta abruption. Them two on top of PPROM, which is scary enough. So it's basically like wetting yourself every single day. And then some of these women don't even have cars, expected to travel into hospital all the time. There's no community support, which we would like. We would like community support midwives to be looking after our mums who are managing PPROM from home. And we would like them to be seen by consultants, with one consistent consultant. I know it's a big ask, but really it isn't a big ask, because if it's to help the mum progress the pregnancy. Now they all say, well, let's just terminate the pregnancy. But we have had mums who've had to terminate. They had no choice in some cases. Sometimes it was their decision. But even still, when it has been the decision, they left them. They left the baby. So once the baby has passed away, it is really important that baby is delivered straight away. And, you know, not under my care, but there has been some cases of women who have sadly died because they didn't listen to the women. So you end the pregnancy, they ended the pregnancy, but because they didn't take the baby out on time, the mums ended up with sepsis. And this is how serious this can be. And then I've had other mums who've lost the waters for 24 weeks. They've gone up to 30 weeks. They actually gone around 4 or 5 hospitals and they ended up with sepsis. And they're very lucky that their baby survived, and they're very lucky that they are alive. But that impact on them doesn't leave them. It does not leave you. And you can ask anyone, any mum who's given birth, do you remember your birth? You don't forget giving birth to your children, whether they live or not. You just don't. And we need to make that process a lot easier. We're starting on a new research. So we actually, in this other letter, the other letter, sorry, I'm getting nervous now. In the letter,
no, you're doing brilliantly. You're literally waking people up as you talk. There's people in the comments going, I had no clue about this. And it's really important what you're saying. It's exactly, it is barbaric, Jimmy. Yeah, it is shocking. Ian, yes. Chris, it is dreadful. And Luggerbug says we should have dedicated facilities for pregnant mums. Brave lady, says Dee. Thank you for enlightening me on this awful issue. And Luggerbug says, exactly, Kira, we don't place enough importance on those that really matter. And these things are really important, what you're saying. It's so underexposed. And you're out there. You've been fighting this for a very long time. And it's time that you were heard. And in the background, you're assisting Parliament, and they're not even acknowledging that, for goodness sake.
No, they're not even acknowledging it. And then even going about the UCOS study. And it's like, well, the UCOS study is because of me. The UCOS started because basically I volunteered for the layperson for NICE guidelines. I always get it mixed up, NICE guidelines. And we were looking at the preterm meetings, and I bumped into this professor who's a completely incredible professor over in Leeds called Nigel Simpson. And he invited me to one of his preterm meetings with obstetricians and etc. And at that meeting, Anna David, who is working on the research for the stem cell to reseal the membrane, she was there, and I've met her before because we've raised a lot of money for them. towards this project. And she said, you know, one way, and I kept saying to her, the care isn't great. You know, how can you save babies' lives if you can't provide the care, or you're not giving the right information to women? How can you improve care? You can't. So she said, well, let's do the UCOS study. So we worked with Laura from Liverpool Women's Hospital. We got Wellbeing of Women to help us fund it. And then it was born. But in this letter, it doesn't acknowledge Little Heartbeats. It doesn't include Wellbeing of Women. And it's like, well, how? And then they're telling us they're going to improve care of PPROM, and it's like, well, you don't know the fundamental issues. So how do you know? I'm seeing this, and then we're about to launch a new project about the impact of PPROM. I don't know if Lisa's joined us at all.
Oh, Lisa has been here, but unfortunately we haven't. I didn't realise that Lisa was one of you. I thought she was my next guest who were actually here. Unfortunately, we're not going to have time to bring Lisa on today because I didn't realise she was with you. Please apologise to her. I had no idea she was you. Sorry.
Can I have a couple of minutes now because it's really important?
Yes, go on. No, unfortunately not, because we're on schedule. I'm so sorry, Kira. We're already running 5 minutes behind. Do apologise to her from me. I just had no idea.
So we're working with Lisa, who's a doctor and researcher at St Thomas's, and we're relaunching a new research project into the impact of PPROM on our women. So any women who have been through PPROM, we are going through it now. So
I'm just letting in Lisa to explain to her that I didn't realise it was her, and just give her a final word on this.
Thank you so much for your time.
That is the very least I feel I can do. I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay.
Kira. I didn't realise she was with you.
It's okay.
And hello, Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Lisa's not here. Right. Unfortunately, Lisa is not here. So Kira, give us a final word.
So if you are going through PPROM, so basically if you feel that you're going through pregnancy,
Lisa's here. Lisa, I'm so sorry. I didn't realise.
Don't worry at all.
Well, I didn't realise you were here with Kira, and unfortunately we've got no time left.
That's all right,
so what we decided was to bring you in now. It's totally my fault. I didn't realise it was you. We want to give you the last word on this, what Kira has been talking about. Tell us what people need to know about this.
I think PPROM is a condition that is really under-recognised, and I think a lot of pregnant women haven't heard about it. I think education is so important just to raise the awareness, and also as a research community that there are lots of questions that we need to answer in order that we can give women the best management, and I think that's what we're essentially trying to do as a group.
That is fantastic. Listen, I want to bring you both back on for a longer conversation about this. It's so much. We've shocked people in the comments. They had no idea this existed. And that was the response I had to what Kira said as well. So I'm so sorry. I'm having to rush. I do dearly apologise. Kira will put all the links, including the song Little Heartbeats, and we will bring you back on again. Thank you both for what you're doing, and I will speak to you both very soon. Take good care of yourselves.
Thank you. Okay, just quickly, this song is called Where There's a Heartbeat, There's Hope. Brilliant. And it's a song that's written about our journey and about that there's hope, but not false hope. So brilliant. Do listen. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Lisa. Bye. My apologies. Take care. Bye.
Bye.